In Washington, a fierce political battle is intensifying, with President Donald Trump today launching a blistering attack on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Democratic Party. In a statement on his Truth Social platform, the president accused Democrats of being country-hating thugs and engaging in extortion over the confirmation of his administration's nominees. The conflict centers on an unprecedented blockade of presidential appointments, with over 140 nominees currently stalled in the Senate. President Trump alleges that Senator Schumer is demanding $2 billion in funding for the National Institutes of Health and Foreign Aid as a condition for allowing the confirmation process to move forward. He wrote, quote, "This has never happened before. There has never, in U.S. history, been such a delay. They are extortionists." The standoff has left lawmakers deeply frustrated, with talks breaking down before they left Washington on Monday. The sheer number of positions requiring Senate confirmation, over 2,800 in total, means this gridlock has significant implications for the functioning of the federal government. In response, Senate Republicans are now openly discussing a rule change to the filibuster, often called the nuclear option. This would allow them to confirm nominees with a simple majority vote, bypassing the current Democratic blockade. Senate Majority Leader John Thune stated that the last 6 months have demonstrated that the nominations process is, quote, broken, and that he expects robust conversations about changing the rules. That partisan battle in Washington is mirrored at the state level, particularly in Texas, where a fight over redistricting has escalated dramatically. Former President Barack Obama has weighed in, accusing Texas Republicans of a power grab that undermines our democracy. He claims the party is attempting to gerrymander district lines to unfairly secure 5 additional seats in next year's midterm elections. The criticism comes as Texas House Democrats have fled the state to deny Republicans the quorum needed to pass the redistricting legislation during a special session. Republicans have pushed back against the accusations. Utah Senator Mike Lee remarked that Democrats only call it gerrymandering when it happens in a Republican state, pointing to Illinois as an example of a Democratic-led state with controversially drawn maps. The situation has now taken a legal turn. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has launched an investigation into whether the Democrats' flight was illegally funded. His probe targets Powered by People, a nonprofit organization founded by former presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke. Reports, citing anonymous sources, claim the group is a primary funder for the lawmakers' transport, lodging, and daily fines. Paxton's office stated that any such financial assistance could violate Texas bribery laws, as well as laws governing campaign finance and abuse of office. In a press release, Paxton said, "Any Democrat coward breaking the law by taking a Beto bribe will be held accountable." O'Rourke fired back, calling Texas Republicans thugs, and highlighting that Paxton himself was acquitted in a 2023 impeachment trial on charges of corruption and bribery. O'Rourke has been actively fundraising to support the absent lawmakers, arguing that if they fail, the consolidation of authoritarian power in America will be nearly unstoppable. While political battles rage on the domestic front, the White House is turning its attention to a major international crisis. Fox News has learned that President Trump intends to meet face-to-face with Russian President Vladimir Putin as soon as next week. This high-stakes diplomatic engagement is expected to be followed shortly after by a 3-way summit, bringing President Trump, President Putin, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy together for talks. News of the planned meetings comes just hours after U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff held what was described as a highly productive meeting with Putin on Wednesday. President Trump commented on the progress on Truth Social, writing, quote, "Great progress was made. Everyone agrees this war must come to a close, and we will work towards that in the days and weeks to come." This initiative marks one of the most significant diplomatic pushes to resolve the war in Ukraine, since the conflict began. While details on the locations and specific agendas for the meetings remain forthcoming, the back-to-back summits signal a new, direct approach from the administration aimed at brokering a peace deal. The announcement suggests a potential turning point in the protracted conflict, which has seen immense human suffering and has created widespread instability across Europe. The international community will be watching these developments very closely. Back here at home, a long-running social and political debate is seeing a significant development, particularly in the state of Louisiana. Planned Parenthood has announced it will permanently close its last two remaining facilities in the state, Beto de Nainsinamench, located in Baton Rouge and New Orleans, on September 30th. The move has been hailed as a huge success by pro-life advocates. Sean Carney, the CEO of the group 40 Days for Life, told Fox News Digital that the closures are a huge victory, arguing that Planned Parenthood is financially dependent on abortions, which are now illegal in Louisiana following the 2022 Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. Louisiana's Republican Governor Jeff Landry celebrated the news as a major win for the pro-life movement. However, Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast President Melanie Linton painted a very different picture. In a statement, she said the decision was not one they wanted to make, but one they were forced into by political warfare. She blamed anti-reproductive health lawmakers obsessed with power and control for the closures, warning that patients will now go without other forms of care, such as cancer screenings and infection treatments. This development is part of a larger national trend. Planned Parenthood has been shuttering facilities across the country, including in Texas and even in blue states like New York, where it is selling its Manhattan Health Center building. The organization faces significant financial pressure, not only from state-level abortion bans, but also from efforts by the Trump administration to cut federal funding and a reported drop in individual donors. Pro-life activists argue this trend disproves the long-held claim that abortions make up only 3% of Planned Parenthood's services, suggesting that if that were true, the organization would not be closing so many clinics in states where the procedure is banned.